The more I read about nutrition, the more I realize how, I guess, fortunate that I am with my own eating. I eat basically everything, and I've never really done any sort of diet or sort of eaten to a fixed regime ever in my life, not even once. Um, I eat meat, but I don't really eat that much meat, and most of what I eat is chicken. I drink beer, but really not many beers. I'm probably doing about one beer every 2 weeks now, something like that. So less and less. My big weakness is chocolate bars, but the calories probably fit okay. It's ultra processed food, but the calories fit okay into my overall scheme. And I say probably because I've never really counted. So I've never ever counted calories. And I would say my weight hasn't fluctuated very much in the probably the last 40 years. I've been the same weight, like a skinny runner for 40 years. I've never really changed much. When I say my weight hasn't fluctuated, I actually don't weigh myself very often either. Probably on average about once every 6 months because we're having a little chat and there's some scales and you go, oh, I wonder how much I actually weigh. And so it never occurs to me to weigh myself.
Or when we read
Um,
a strength book and then it says, oh, you should be able to lift your body weight. And
you
you're
got to
like, I
lift your
wonder
own
what my
weight.
body weight is.
Yeah, I wonder what that means. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's probably the last time I did it in the gym when I was thinking,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I
remember
must be
that.
getting near lifting my body weight now. Um, I've made a conscious effort over the last few years to take a few more protein drinks after training to help with recovery and also because of my age to, actively promote a little bit more protein intake to help with my fending off muscle wastage as I get older. And I take extra carbs when marathon training in the heavy blocks to sort of fuel the training. So I take trouble to try and fuel my training. So I don't think I do too bad, but I don't really think about it much and I don't really focus on it much. And sometimes I think that can be a good thing, not sweating the small stuff and getting all inside your own head with it. I've come to realize that with food, everybody's experience is different. And there are some basic truths that are true for everybody, but it depends then the nuances with each individual. I think every person's relationship with food is different, and sometimes it's your psychological relationship with what you're doing, and how you interpret what's happening that kind of makes a difference. And we're going to hear all about that in the book that we're covering today. Hi, and welcome to the Running Book Reviews podcast, where we review books written for runners, about runners, and by runners to help you decide if you'd like to read the book for yourself. We also hope listening to us chat about running can keep you motivated about your own running and maybe inspire you to try something new. My name's Alan, and with my co-host Liz, we're going to talk about the book Fuel for Thought by Renee McGregor.
So, Fuel for Thought is not Renee's first book. This is actually a follow-up to another book that she wrote called More Fuel You. In this book, Renee looks at sports nutrition through the lens of her own sporting passion, running. She urges caution over the explosion of social media, nutrition, and fitness experts, apps and programs that all claim to offer bespoke dietary advice. Instead, she offers practical information based on her own personal and professional experiences, including an A to Z of foods and a section dedicated to her own tried and tested budget-friendly recipe ideas, which use simple everyday ingredients. I love simple everyday ingredients because, I like to buy recipe books, but then sometimes I look at the recipes and I'm like, oh no, I need to run around halfway around Montreal to like try and figure out where to get these things. There's also guidance on how to recognize and help with dysfunctional behaviors, from REDS to exercise dependency, and how to be informed about your own hormonal health when you go in search of appropriate support. So, a little bit about Renee. So, Renee McGregor is a leading sports and eating disorder specialist dietitian with over 20 years' experience working in clinical and performance nutrition. She has worked with athletes across the globe at Olympic level in Rio 2016 and has provided team management on numerous occasions at major championships in a variety of sports. She is the nutrition lead for English and Scottish National Ballet and was actively involved in producing the consensus statement about the management of REDs in dance. She's also on the International Task Force for Orthorexia, which is a term that we've heard before on this podcast, and is named author of the consensus document on definition and diagnostic criteria for orthorexia nervosa. Oh, that sounds like a disease. Well, I guess that's what it is, eh?
I guess that means sort of obsessive focus on food, does it?
Well, orthorexia is like I guess taking clean, having the clean eating to the extreme.
Dream, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess orthorexia nervosa is just like the most
An
extreme version that you
obsessive
actually
version of it.
it
Yeah.
impacts your quality of life, and so you'd want to get treated. That would be my best guess.
Mm.
Unfortunately, we can't have Renee would be the best person to talk about this,
But she
but
isn't here.
she couldn't be here. So we'll do our best. Anyway, a little bit more about Renee because she's got a very extensive bio, and this is actually the shortened version. But she's the founder of Team Renee McGregor, managing and leading a multidisciplinary team of practitioners specializing in sporting individuals of all ages in their sporting endeavors and providing expert advice to athletes seeking support for a dysfunctional relationship with food and training. So not only does she help athletes, but she's also coaching other dietitians to be able to help athletes. So it's like multiplying her expertise.
Coach in the coach.
Exactly. Renee is the best-selling author of More Fuel You, Training Food, Fast Fuel, and Orthorexia, When Healthy Eating Goes Bad, and she writes a monthly column for Runner's World. When not inspiring others with her work, Renee can be found running in the mountains and chasing the trails around her home in the Lake District. So she is based in the UK.
Oh, damn, another one who gets to run
Yeah.
around the Lake District.
I know, I know. Every time we mention the Lake District, I see that, your eyes sparkle.
We need to go and do some stuff there.
I guess so.
When your husband retires, we'll have a trip out.
Yes. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
And,
Okay.
and an extra good thing about Renee, we can talk more about it because she's not here. An
Yeah.
extra good thing is she likes to call out people who bullshit about food.
Yes. Yes, she likes to do that on social media, I think,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
Yeah.
shame we didn't have her here so she could spout some of that.
Yeah. Would have been better heard from her.
Okay, so how are we going to talk about this book, given that we don't have an author to bounce off? Do you take caffeine when you run? Lots of people do because it's in gels and stuff. And caffeine's legal and it's been proven to work. There's actual science that shows that it improves your endurance running performance.
And there's anecdotal data from when you have your coffee in the morning and you go for a workout versus when you forgot to have your coffee or you didn't have time and you went for a workout and it was terrible.
And the trouble with coffee is there's a lot of liquid just to get your caffeine dose.
Yeah, so then you have to stop for the bathroom mid-workout. Very impractical. Which is where Caffeine Bullet comes in.
What's Caffeine Bullet, Liz?
It's a caffeine supplement. It's wrapped up like in a candy. So, and it tastes like candy. And you can get 100 milligrams or 85 milligrams, which is about a cup of coffee, but without the liquid.
So we've tried the mint flavor and the chocolate orange flavor. They're both pretty yummy.
If you want to try them for yourself, we do have a 20% off discount code. So go to the link in the show notes and you can check out what Caffeine Bullet is and get your 20% discount.
Pretty generous.
It is pretty generous.
And we'll get a small benefit, so you're helping out the
Speaking of which, back to the podcast. Yeah, I guess we can sort of follow the chapters. I mean,
Okay.
in chapter 1, maybe we could just mention like maybe one thing that we learned in each chapter. Chapter 1, she basically kind of just talks about how it all started, her relationship, because
Yeah.
she had her own struggles before she started helping athletes
Yeah,
with, eating
she herself
disorders.
was anorexic as a teenager.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and also she was diagnosed with I don't know if it was food related. I don't think it was, but sarcoidosis. Is that how you
Oh yeah,
pronounce it?
that's not food related. It's
Yeah.
like an immune response. That is what our running buddy
Dawn.
Dawn had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's like an immune.
I think what she wanted to illustrate in the first chapter was that, she's not just coming along with all the answers and none of the practical stuff. She's very hands-on and she's experienced a lot of stuff herself that have caused her to struggle. Um, she's also been a very achieving, high achieving runner,
Hmm.
particularly in trails,
Yeah.
as well as like multiple qualifications in nutrition. So she's about as good as it gets.
And her book is very nuanced. Like she does talk about, it's not just about like, oh, calling people out on underfueling and stuff. She says like underfueling, it's something that you can do by accident as well. The more you run, the less hungry you might feel, or the more you can misjudge how much food you actually need. Your appetite doesn't always follow your training, so it can be very hard. So she does talk about that as well. So it's not just a bunch of like, her saying that everything we're doing is bad and it's our fault. It's more nuanced than that. It's like you can recognize that you have a problem, but it's not necessarily like you don't do it on purpose all the time.
And that kind of segues well into chapter two because chapter two is called "What Kind of Runner Are You?" So
Hmm.
you have to know yourself before you can interpret the nuances around fueling. As you say, it could be that you're stepping up your training and
Hmm.
what worked for you in the past is not going to serve you well if you start suddenly converting your mileage upwards and your speed upwards or giving up running on roads and going to long trails or whatever.
Yeah, she also mentions this is where she first mentions social media. So she
Yeah,
mentions so we don't want to demonize social media. We're obviously, on social media and it can be a good thing. You can find I'm really into like funny Instagram reels these days and my feed is full of them. So I just look and watch these and giggle. So,
what's
social
happened
media
to all
can
the
be
cats?
I don't know. You know what happened? It's Steph's fault. So if Steph listens to this podcast, here I am calling her out.
Yeah,
So she started sending me all these funny memes on Instagram, and now my whole feed is full of funny memes, I guess, because I kept clicking on them all to see them. So now, but yeah, there's not much like the cats have sort of they haven't gone away completely. Every so often there'll be a cat, but
just taking a
most
backseat.
yeah, most of my social media is funny running stuff, which is yeah, it's my vibe these days anyway, so it's good. But and that's just actually proof that the algorithm feeds you what you engage with.
Hmm.
So if you're constantly seeing on social media people that are telling you to cut your carbs and how to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, like maybe it's because that's what you're engaging with. So what you need is a friend to start sending you funny Instagram memes about your coworkers or about running or about something, and
Yeah,
then you can engage with those and like your feed will change because you're no longer engaging with the other stuff that makes you feel bad about yourself.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's kind of what she says. She just says that social media can sometimes make us feel bad about ourselves
yeah.
because it's always telling us like something that we should be doing that we aren't doing.
One of the things I've noticed about social media that I'm wary of these days. Well, I'm just a cynic and tend not to believe stuff, um, just because people say it's true. which protects me a little bit from social media influence. But one of the things I'm conscious of is the algorithm will serve you up many instances of the same stuff, similar stuff, like you say, and
Hmm.
and you get into a syndrome of believing something is true because you've heard it a number of times.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, I've
when in
heard this.
fact, when in fact it's, I think there's probably a scientific name for it, but when in fact it's just you programming the machine to tell you on a regular basis this, or somebody has made an article and then 53 people have quoted it, and you're actually connected to 10 of those. So you get 10 messages and you go, this must be true. When in fact it's
Yeah,
all coming from one study that has a very poor structure, and then it becomes generally accepted as true.
yeah.
Everybody knows that X. And I think, what Renee sort of says is, watch out.
Hmm. Yeah. Then she launches into just sort of some basics about sports nutrition, but I think that like she dives deeper into the actual numbers and what you need and all of that in her first book. So she doesn't really repeat it here, but she just talks about the basic things about sports nutrition, some of the things that we know, some that maybe we've forgotten. But one of the things she mentions is that the general recommendation for the general population is to not eat more than 30 grams of added sugar per day.
Hmm.
And she says, like, this doesn't really apply to endurance athletes because
Yeah.
if
If you
you're
follow
doing a
that, you're going to be
2 hour run,
underfueled. Yeah.
well, and also if you're doing a longer run, let's say if you're exercising 2 hours or more, then you need to be consuming 60 grams of carbs per hour. And the only way to get that is through added sugar. Because, like, you can't go be eating 60 grams of carbs worth of raisins during your run. You're
Hmm.
probably gonna not digest that. I mean, I don't know. Never tried, but
Yeah, yeah, that was the note that I made basically about this chapter, that basically general advice, general nutrition advice can actually be contradictory with respect to sports nutrition advice.
yeah, which is a little bit different because
Yeah.
sports nutrition, it's more about performance and general nutrition is about health. And yes, you need to be healthy and generally you should follow the general advice like, you know, eat lots of colored vegetables and things like that.
Yeah. Eat whole foods.
But as an athlete, like you do need to also have enough of everything, enough calories, and then especially if you're an endurance athlete, you need a lot of carbohydrates. So you're going to end up eating more sugar than a normal person. Is basically what she said. She also talks about these blood sugar monitors, because you can get these continuous glucose monitors that used to
Yeah.
just be reserved for diabetics.
Yeah.
And now, like, you see athletes with them taped to their arm. And she says
Hmm.
sometimes those create a lot of anxiety because,
Yeah. So
as a
they're going to
normal
spike.
person, yeah, you can get spikes in your blood sugar. And then, like, you think, oh my God, it's high. But it's normal. It's just that you used to not know these things
Hmm.
because you didn't have
Hmm.
a blood sugar monitor at all
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of things in the book actually that reminded me of a discussion we had about knee health, strangely, because knee health has got nothing to do with nutrition directly. But you remember we had a discussion on one of the podcasts about what one of the problems is that if you go looking, you find a result and you correlate the result to what you were looking for when it's not true.
Hmm.
The knee health example was, oh, my knee's hurting. Oh, I'll go and get an MRI. Okay, I got the MRI. Oh, look, it shows that the meniscus is damaged. When in fact, when they take people who don't have their knee hurting and
Hmm.
look at their meniscuses, they find in runners like 80% of them have some damage in their meniscus. It's not
It's
presenting
not
as
hurting,
not
so they
presenting as
didn't.
pain.
Yeah.
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 And what you do is you conclude that my knee hurting is due to meniscus damage.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true. You may have had
No.
that meniscus damage for a long, 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 long time, and your knee could be hurting, I don't know, for all sorts of other reasons.
I
Um,
wonder if that wasn't pain and performance with
yes, I think it
Ryan
was.
Whitehead.
It
Yeah, that we
absolutely it
discussed
was.
that.
Well done. well
Yeah.
remembered.
Yeah. I try.
But I got flashes of that in this book around glucose monitoring. And if you
Mm-hmm.
start glucose monitoring, you're going to conclude, well, I'm pre-diabetic, or I have metabolic syndrome, or no, you don't. You're just looking at, you're looking at fluctuations.
Yeah.
It's a bit like these days, looking at your heart rate variation off your watch.
Yeah. Or your
Just gonna
watch or
ignore
your
it.
Garmin telling you how poorly you slept last night and you thought you woke up thinking like, "Oh, I slept pretty good. Like I didn't wake up at all last night. It was really great." And then Garmin is like, "Your sleep score is 1%."
Yeah, and then you start going, okay, well, I must be coming down with something.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I've got the sniffles. Yeah, I'm sure, especially when marathon time's coming around. So you to some extent, it's your psychological relationship with something, and how you're fed data kind of has an influence.
Hmm.
Um,
For
the,
sure.
the the other example was that I came across in this book was polycystic ovary syndrome
Yes.
towards the end, where you have an issue as a woman, and then you go and get a diagnosis that you're making multiple eggs at once,
Yeah.
and
All at
you this
once.
is your disease, so to speak. When in fact,
Yeah.
many, 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 many women do this all the time, and they only find out when they have some kind of issue that's not related to that, and then they get diagnosed as having that as a problem, when in fact it's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that way. I mean, I guess like that being said, if you're having an issue and you go to the doctor, like you kind of want them to find something.
Yeah.
You don't
Anyway,
want your problem to be like all in your head, right? But at the same time, yeah, sometimes, yeah, maybe that's not, maybe that's not the whole problem.
a bit of a
Yeah,
diversion.
it is. So this book is in three parts. So those first three chapters were like part one. Then she has part two, which is all about putting it into practice. And this is where she has like a lot of the practical information. So chapter four is just about, your cupboard. And she goes a little bit into some supplements that actually are beneficial. It's not a very long list. Like we've
Yeah.
seen in another book as well. There was another book that talked about supplements that help performance in runners, and basically this list is kind of the same. Like it's not very long. So
One of the important things in this that she says is start with fundamentals. So
mhm.
don't, start playing around the edges till you've got some of the basics in place, basic things in terms of protein,
Yeah, she talks
carbohydrates.
about if you're on a budget. She says, frozen fruits and vegetables are really good. They're really good
Mm,
nutritiously, and they're less expensive. She talks about, your protein source doesn't always have to be a fresh steak. Like it can be canned tuna, which is less expensive, and you can have tons of it in your pantry, and it's a really good protein source. So she talks about practical things like that. And then in terms of the supplements, like she mentions that she recommends 2,000 units of vitamin D daily for like everyone, even if they haven't been tested yet. She says you could get vitamin D testing, but she says probably in the northern hemisphere um you'll need
you'll be
that.
deficient. Oh, there's my dietary adjustment. There's my
Yeah.
dietary adjustment. I need to take vitamin D
Yeah.
because we live in the far north. We only get sunlight for one
Well,
hour a
also the
week.
thing is our skin is always covered with clothing because it's cold.
Good. Yeah. Well, yours is.
Absolutely. Even in the summer. Yeah. I don't know how many times I've worn a singlet this year, but it was not very often.
I mean, you can even tell from the video conference here. I'm wearing a t-shirt. You're wearing a like thick, warm hoodie
But it's cold today, so I haven't turned on the heat in the house. Did you turn on the heat? Why are you wearing a t-shirt?
because it's not cold.
Hang on, hang on. Let me check the temperature.
Anyway, the issue being,
It's only 16 degrees Celsius.
The issue being vitamin D.
Oh, did you want to add anything?
The kind of good thing about this chapter is that they talk about some of the more fringe supporting things, and I think that there's good context for those. So, if you're talking about, I don't know, taking tart cherry or beetroot or something like that, I think Ren is very realistic. What does it have in
Yeah.
it? What does it do? Will it work? Maybe it will, maybe it won't, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, she does talk about that.
As you can tell from my introductory story, I'm sort of generally resistant to fad things. I like to see a lot of evidence before I get on board.
Yeah. Which is why you're on board with protein, but not much else.
Yep.
Oh, caffeine. You're on
Caffeine,
board with caffeine.
caffeine.
Um, in the chapter after, she has an A to Z list of foods. The chapter is basically called an A to Z list of foods.
Yeah.
And she even has like a couple recipes in there. So like so for some of them, like let's say I think it was chickpeas had a
Mm.
curry chickpea recipe.
Yeah.
So she's got a few of those, but she tries to keep this list like just ordinary things that are good for us.
Hmm.
Like A was for
Sometimes,
apple,
yeah.
basically, because, apples are good for us. And
Sometimes she has to pick a word that's a little fringe, but then she says,
yeah,
well, when I say this, I mean, like for Z, she has za'atar or whatever it's called.
yeah,
But she says, oh, I mean, all spices. You should
yeah.
you should use them. They
But
give you
za'atar is
benefits.
really good. We used to
Mm.
get this pita bread with za'atar on it, like when we lived downtown. Because you could go to PA and you could get this
Yeah,
stuff. It was
absolutely is
yummy.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I picked out of the list?
What?
I is for ice cream. She said
Oh
because you need
yeah.
balance in a healthy diet.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we do ice cream runs in summer. We'll
In
actually
summer, because now
uh,
it's too cold
actually
for that.
stop and fuel. Yeah, we'll be doing
Yeah.
hot chocolate runs soon.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things I noticed about the A to Z of foods is it doesn't contain very many meats. It doesn't contain any meats, does it?
Um, oh, that's a good question.
C's not for chicken, C's for chickpeas.
Yeah.
Yeah. S is not for steak.
Yeah,
There- There's
that is
there's
true.
there's lots and lots of
D is for dairy and E is for eggs. Oh, F is for fish.
yeah, okay.
I like fish.
So do
That's my
I.
favorite. That's my favorite meat. But I don't know. Some people say it's not meat, but I'm like, yeah, but it's animal muscle. So,
I had some trout the other day. That was pretty neat.
hmm
That's good. Wait, is it okay for us to chat a little bit off subject? We've
I don't know. Like, do you think the listeners are gonna want to hear us chat about things that are off topic?
well, they can fast forward this bit. Um
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, we've just signed up for a fresh food delivery to the
Oh,
house um
which one?
from a place called Lufa.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of Lufa?
Yeah, we did that for like a little while. We didn't stick with it.
They grow vegetables on the roofs on in greenhouses on the roofs of buildings
Hmm.
in the city basically. So you get it sort of fresh. You have to take what they got to some
Yeah,
extent, but their app's getting better now. You can adjust your delivery. So we thought we'd give it a try.
yeah.
So and they sent us some trout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I thought,
Nice.
okay, I didn't really think of having trout, but I've got some trout now. I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, when we were living downtown, we got it wasn't Leafa Farm because I don't think they were around yet because this was like more than a decade ago. But there was like a farm that had a drop off that was like I was still at Concordia
Mm,
at the time, and they had a drop off that was right outside Concordia, and we lived up the street.
yeah.
And so we did that in the summer because it was nice because exactly for that reason, like it was all fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables, but you would get stuff that like you didn't know what it was, and so then
Hmm.
you had to figure out how to eat it. So it was kind of like
Hmm.
an exploratory exercise. Like it was kind of fun because you'd be like, "Oh, what's this round green
That's
thing? I wonder
that's
how you eat this." And then
I
yeah,
mean, mostly it's standard stuff that you kind of know. Um,
yeah,
But one of the things that we got in our delivery, we've only had one delivery, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
excited about it at the moment. Maybe I'll get
Yeah.
bored with it after a while. But
No, it could be
yeah,
fun, I
there
think.
were dandelions in
Oh
the
yeah.
dandelion leaves in the salad
Yeah.
selection. So I thought, what we're going to do with this? Well, we'll just put it in a salad, just like
Mm-hmm.
some lettuce and some spinach,
Yeah.
and it was great.
Yeah.
So you get
Yeah, it
a
makes
bit of
your
variety and different stuff that maybe you don't
yeah.
routinely eat.
We tried because of like we had a pretty good experience. We did it a couple years in a row with that the one that was in Montreal when we were living there downtown. We thought like, oh, well, let's try the loofah. But then it was a bit of a burden because we were both working when we tried it. And so it was like, well, no one was home, so we didn't want home delivery. So we got it sent to the drop-off area, but then the drop-off, it was like a little, like not really out of the way, just like not on the way home from anything. And
Yeah.
so it like was a little bit of a burden because it was like, well, we have to go pick this thing up between certain times.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't work for you at that point,
Yeah.
does it?
So we canceled it for that, but
Hmm.
yeah, maybe one day we'll go back. But well, your wife works from home, so
Also, our drop off is near, just next to our local supermarket.
okay. Oh,
So if
so
you're picking
that's
stuff up from the
convenient.
supermarket, or you go and pick your box, and you can call in at the
Yeah.
supermarket.
Because that was the other thing. It was like you couldn't replace going to the grocery store with that because there
You can't
wasn't like
really.
really enough.
No.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it was a bit like it ended up being an extra thing that we had to do. And so, yeah, we canceled it,
Well, we'll see how we go, but
but
it's
it's
kind of
fun in
cool.
terms of
It's a nice
it's
concept as well, locally grown,
yeah,
using spaces that are
that are not
kind of
used.
urban
Yeah.
spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Like I love that and that's why we wanted to support them, but yeah, it was maybe another time.
We'll
Another
see what
time.
happens.
Yeah, but it's fun also because it's fun to get weird things in your basket and see and figure out how to eat it. We got like these sprouts. They always had some kind of sprouts, like
Did they have
some
kind
kind of
of
green.
did they have kind of like little black things on the top of them? The
No,
sprouts? No.
no. I think ours were bean sprouts or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We got a punnet of maniac sprouts. Um, and what we did was it was in a sort of cardboard, so we just
yeah.
put some water on it and it just keeps
Hmm.
growing. We keep chopping bits off and eating it, it keeps growing. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's fun.
interesting.
Yep.
Anyway,
Okay.
big diversion.
That was a big diversion. So guys, you can fast forward the next like 10 minutes. Okay.
It is edible foods.
Chapter
Yeah.
6, the kitchen. That's what the chapter's called. It's basically a bit more about food and
Big take home message here for me, which is probably the same as for you, is the big advice from Renee is don't basically feel you have to earn your food. So don't ever go, well, okay, if I go for a nice big long run, then I can eat that afterwards. You're just setting
yeah.
yourself up for a bad relationship with food. If you
Yes.
feel you have to earn it, better put it the other way around.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to
Fueling.
say?
Yes. But you know what? That's actually not the takeaway I wrote down.
Oh,
Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, yes, that's a takeaway that I had, but I wrote down that the brain needs 120 to 130 grams of glucose per day to work optimally. So this is like my current thinking is because I kind of need my
okay.
brain a lot these days because like I
Sure
went
do.
back to school and
Yeah.
and you know, I need to learn all this material. And so anything that can help, like I'm all down for that. So I was surprised by that number because that's huge. 120 to 130 grams of glucose per day. So granted, you know, if you eat some pasta, your body will convert that to glucose and you
Hmm.
know, so it's not like you don't have to drink like 4 Gatorades every day. But that's it just shows like That's like just your brain. That's not your muscles working, you going for a
Yeah.
run. It's just like the
Yeah. That's
amount of
just,
carbohydrate that you need. Like this is just to, keep yourself alive. So the other fact that she wrote along with this, which is like the convincing argument for me, is that she says if you ask two people to change a behavior, so this can be
mhm.
anything, like, you with your protein.
Yeah.
Um, and one of them is not getting enough fuel while the other one is. It is the one who's fueling that will adapt the quickest.
Okay.
So getting enough like glucose for your brain can actually be the difference between you
Making the change, the next change.
making the change or not. Isn't that, I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
So,
Your brain is wondering if it has enough
yeah.
glucose at the moment.
Yeah. My
Oh,
brain's sending me out to go and get a donut or
a
something.
chocolate bar.
Don't
Your
mention
brain's
chocolate
like,
bars.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, the other thing that was in that chapter that I captured was that for altitude training, if you want to do some altitude training and get the benefit of that, that in fact you won't get benefit from altitude training unless you go in well fueled with enough iron in your system, because you've got
Oh,
to have the
yes.
energy to make the adjustments and the iron to make the I guess
Extra red blood cells.
the hemoglobin, yeah, in your red
Hmm.
blood cells.
Yeah, the energy is because you're working harder at altitude. So burning more carbs, more energy. Okay, on to chapter 7.
Top tips and example menus.
Okay, so you know what? I had one takeaway. It was that there's a word in there that was repeated multiple times. I have no idea what it is, but you being from the UK probably know what it is. So I don't have a takeaway. I have a question for you.
Okay, put me on the spot here. Fire away.
Okay, what is a boiled sweet?
What do
It
you mean a
was
boiled
always
sweet?
a boiled sweet. She brought it up multiple times. She said she had an athlete that was doing ultras that was experiencing
Yeah,
nausea during races, and her
yeah.
athlete like
I guess
took
this
some
is an
boiled
English. This must be
sweets
an English word. It's
and
kind
and and
never even
then
occurred to me that somebody wouldn't know what that meant. Is it the
I have
North
no idea
America
what that
doesn't
is.
have boiled sweets?
No, I would never boil my candies, for example. Like what the like I don't even know what that means, boiling a sweet. What
No,
what's sweet that you've
a
boiled?
boiled sweet is a candy, but
Okay.
it's really hard. It's like almost glassy. You know how
Oh.
you can have like a maple syrup maple syrup sweet.
Oh. So it's just a
They're
hard
really hot.
candy.
They're really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're sort
Oh,
of
so that's a boiled sweet.
yeah, that's a boiled sweet.
Oh, okay,
Sort of
okay.
a glassy sort of surface on it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Why don't they call it a glassy sweet? What's wild boiled?
I don't know. It must be
Okay.
historical. Maybe the original people who made them by boiling lumps of sugar or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
that would make sense because I
Yeah,
think that's actually how you make candy.
there you go.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, great. So what'd you take
Oh,
away from that
so
chapter?
we could have told Renee that no one in North America knows what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, I
Um,
had no idea what that was. So to everybody else that lives here and reads that book, well, there you
uh,
have it.
there was one very key piece of information that I got out of this chapter, amongst other things,
Mm-hmm.
was she suggests when you're taking gels, when you're fueling,
Yeah.
um, and generally I think people seem to land on the gel strategy that we tend to prefer, which is sort of 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, or yeah, about in a 3 hours plus effort exercise. But she says when you're taking a gel, don't take it all at once, take it over a few minutes. She says a 5 minute period,
That sounds about right for me. That's like a kilometer
which could be a nice, which is a nice idea, I think, um, because it gives you a better chance of absorbing it. Also gives you a better chance of
choking on it.
not having, yeah, choking on it or having some kind of distress because you got too much of a bolus just going down at once. Except you're going to be more sticky, I think.
Mm. Actually, that's
Yeah.
how I take gels anyway, naturally, because like when you're running at the harder effort, I just can't breathe and eat gel at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm defective in some way
So
because
you just
Andre,
take a little bit
I
and
take a
then
little bit and then like then I breathe and then I swallow it and yeah, it like or sometimes it just sits
okay.
in my mouth for a while I can, process that. Andre laughs at me.
Yeah.
He thinks that it's ridiculous. He's like, you just have to squeeze it all in, but I find that the gel there's too much in the
Yeah.
packet for one. I can't like take it all at once. It's just too much of it.
I think I have a problem with sticky fingers. It kind of irritates me.
I don't like sticky fingers either, but I
So
just
I try to take the gel all at once to kind of
mm,
get it out of the way
hmm
and then wipe my fingers or lick my fingers and wipe them on my shirt or something like that. Yeah, also, I was quite interested in this because one of the difficulties I have is fueling during a marathon race. I think most people
Yeah.
do. Was ginger can work for nausea.
Oh
So
yeah, I read that and I was like, "Oh, that's an idea."
yeah, I have a few ginger raws from Caffeine Bullet. So
hmm That was
I
actually
might
exactly
try to
my
do
thought.
that.
I thought I would put a couple of those in my pocket
Yeah,
and like
I might do.
for when you hit sort of, I don't know, for me it starts early sometimes, like 25K, 30K, like when you start
And probably
feeling
probably if it's
like the gel won't go
psychological,
down.
probably yeah. Yeah, yeah, that sort of later stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably if you got them in your pocket, probably now you've taken the risk off the table. You probably won't even
Yeah.
feel nauseous because it's half of it's psychological.
Yes. Yep. I'm sure that's the way that's always how it happens. It's like when you're ready for the situation, it doesn't happen. So that's why you have to be ready for it.
Renee talks about having contingency fueling plans.
hmm
And one of the things I do is I bring two different kinds of gels because when I'm out there and I get to, okay, it's time to take a gel, I can kind of go, okay, I'm not feeling it. Okay, I'll switch gels. I'll try for a different flavor and a different texture.
hmm
So that's my sort of way of building some contingency into it.
Actually, that I did that by accident when we did wine glass last year because they were giving out Humas on the course, but
Hmm.
I'd planned to fuel with Morton, so I had Morton in my pocket.
Okay.
But at one of the stations I took some of the Humas that were like a fruity flavor, not the
Yeah.
chocolate ones because I can't do chocolate during a race.
Mm.
It's too much. And eventually like I couldn't take I couldn't take the Mortons, so I switched. I took a Huma and it went down okay because it was like I guess it was different and the
Okay.
texture is
So
not the
there's
same. So yeah,
there's a
there's
contingency
some
plan.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't really a plan, but it worked. It helped at least. I mean, I don't know if it worked because I didn't have a good race, but it helped.
She also says that if you're nauseous, she's probably referring to ultras at this point, but I certainly get a bit nauseous towards the end of a marathon. Says if you're a bit nauseous, you still have to try and keep eating because basically if you can't get fuel in, you're going to bonk. So she says take a little bit, try to eat something.
She also talks about it sometimes being related to hydration.
Yes.
If you haven't been drinking enough, sometimes that's the reason that you'll get more nauseous in ultras. So I think she says this more about ultras, but I mean it's true for marathons as well because you're out there for a few hours. So
Hmm. Okay, so some good stuff in there.
yeah, it was a good chapter.
The kind of final chapter.
Yeah, yeah, the kind of final because chapter 9 is just her closing thoughts.
Hmm.
So it's not really a chapter informational. It's like
Some
just
of
more
some
her
of some of those things are
summary.
good. Some of the comments are good though.
Yeah, well, we could talk about it if you want,
Yeah.
kind of in conjunction with chapter 8. Chapter 8 was this is basically the last part of the book where she just talks about humans not being textbooks. So chapter
Hmm.
8 is false refuges and how they hinder us. And this is where she goes more into detail about calling out, she calls them runfluencers.
Yeah.
She talks about how we compare ourselves to these runfluencers and they're, a lot of them are not, they're not professional athletes, so they're not necessarily performing well, and they're not normal people with jobs necessarily either. I mean, some of them are, like they're not all on the same page, but she just says like the if seeing these people makes us kind of like always feel bad about ourselves, then she kind of just says like you shouldn't compare yourself because they're often trying to promote a brand because of they're working with the brand, and they're not necessarily always working towards a specific running goal either. Like some of them, they like, they, for example, do all the big races because
Yeah, they just want to pop up at Boston and
they go and
get lots of
vlog and
hits. Yeah.
yeah. So they're not necessarily, doing a big training block towards one dedicated race like a professional athlete does. They're kind of just, they're doing all these races. Because they're kind of covering races. And so, you shouldn't be
To
comparing
help their
yourself to
profile.
them. Yeah, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to them in terms of goals. Like I mean, I don't know. She doesn't say this, but I think like it's fine to follow somebody that you like on Instagram or on YouTube or whatever because, because you like them and I don't know, they give out some good advice, but you have to watch out. Like you shouldn't mimic your life around their life.
Yeah, you probably follow some people on social media. I certainly do.
I do,
And,
yeah.
and I was just thinking about it just while you were talking there, and I guess I follow people mostly who are they're giving advice, but they're trying to do things.
Hmm.
So they're trying to prepare to PR at Chicago, and you'll see what training they're doing, what difficulties they're having, then what their performance is, and then what they conclude from that.
Hmm.
And they tend to be the people who share the good and the bad. They'll tell you what they're doing and why, and then whether it works, and then when things are going wrong, why they're going wrong.
Yeah.
People who are just all bright and shiny and, yoo-hoo, look, I'm running at New York in my new X company shoes. Aren't they wonderful? Um, I tend not to follow people like that much. I mean, I could probably guess some people that you follow without even knowing. I bet you follow Ali Ostrander.
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
I
I bet
like Ali Ostrander.
you probably follow Philly Bowden in the UK.
No, not so much. I heard about her because of you.
You're more likely to follow Americans, I guess.
Yeah, I follow Sarah Hall. I think like it's because like, well, she's an elite athlete,
Yeah,
but
she's in
also
your
she's
age
like
group.
in my age group.
Yeah,
So I feel like I don't know, for me it's she inspires me because she's still running fast, and she's 40. I mean, so I don't know. For me, like, I think it's also what you get out of it. I mean, like my life is not like hers, obviously. She trains full time and she has a bunch of resources around her, like to train at a high level. She's always been a professional athlete. She's gotten to the Olympics. Like she's not like me, but at the same time, like I don't know. I look at her and I'm like, yeah, but she could still run like a 2:25 marathon. If she could still run a 2:25 marathon, like why the heck can't I go sub 3? Like for me, that's kind of how I take it. But
yeah,
you know, I guess it depends a little bit on how you watch these pro athletes or runfluencers or whatever. I think basically what Renee says in the book is, you just gotta have some discretion and, because they all have something good to offer usually. You just have to take the good advice that's good for you, but I don't know, don't let it seem like because you're not training as many miles or whatever
yeah.
that somehow like you're lacking or you're not I don't know, you're not at the standard you should be at because you're not running as much as they are or whatever.
I think part of the trick that she sort of alludes to is you need to understand yourself well.
Yeah.
Um, try to understand what's your potential to become dysfunctional if you start obsessing about your Garmin watch numbers, or you start obsessing about somebody online who's doing this new double Norwegian method training program that you haven't been able to get to yet. And
Hmm.
I think you need to know a little bit about yourself and watch out for your susceptibilities, I guess.
Hmm. And also, like, I guess just be honest with yourself. Where does it fall on the timeline? Because it's just because you mentioned this double Norwegian threshold training method that, um, so I coach an athlete, and he actually asked me if that would be beneficial for him. But at the time, he was running like 4 days a week. And so the thing is, like, can he handle it? Well, maybe. He's quite
Mm,
fast. He's a 5K. He's mostly a 5K athlete.
yeah,
Um, and so this Jacob Ingebrigtsen, who does these double
yeah,
threshold workouts, he's a 5K athlete. So he's following this guy, and he's like,
mm,
I think would this be beneficial for my training? And I'm like, well, yes, but the thing is, like, in terms of timing in your evolution as a runner, like, it doesn't fit here because
yeah,
you're not maxing out the frequency of your runs, you're not maxing
hmm
out the duration of your runs, you're not even maxing out
yeah,
like the number of workouts per week. At the time, I was giving him like one hard workout plus a long run. So it's like 2 hard days. So, I'm like, well, I
yeah,
think before you jump to doing 2 hard workouts in a day, you
yeah,
first need to do at least 6 days of training.
yeah,
You should be running at least like an hour a day. Then you can maybe think about doing doubles, but double easy runs. And then maybe like after that, like if you still need like another step, like maybe we can do a double threshold run every so often. But I mean, it's just not, you can't just jump into
yeah. I mean,
that now, you know?
it's that's a great sort of influencer example
Hmm.
because people go, maybe I should be doing this.
Yeah. And that's a normal reaction, I
When in
think.
fact, what you should be asking is, so why do you want to do that? You want to do that because you want to be faster? So let's ask the right question. What's the next thing that you should do versus what you're currently doing in order to be faster, rather than this shiny object that's appeared in your
In your feed.
yeah, in your feed.
Yeah. And just to be clear, like, it's definitely not the athlete's fault either because he's just sharing what he's doing.
Hmm
Because we often blame elite athletes, that they're all secretive and nobody wants to say what they're
Yeah,
doing. And I think
yeah,
in the running space, it's become very open. And so, like, high level runners do share their workouts,
yeah,
and their workouts are quite hard. Some of them are, they're quite long, grueling
yeah.
sessions. They share those, and it's fine to go and watch them and be inspired and see like where your training can go because, it means your training can maybe get there one day, but like, are you ready for it now? That's the question to ask because it, the answer is probably not now.
There was some very nice examples of, she talks about low energy availability and, under fueling, and then the possibility of REDs, relative energy deficiency in sport.
Hmm.
And often those are related more to females because they get very obvious signals,
Hmm.
like, stopping their menstrual cycle and stuff like that. But she actually gives a good example of a male
Yeah,
with some of that. And I think as the research develops around that, we're going to see more of that.
I'm still drinking my fluorescent green Gatorade.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
ultra processed food.
Yeah, I did like that example because I like she's obviously a woman. She talks a lot about women. I think there's reason for that because historically a lot of research and everything has been with men, but it's nice that in the whole Reds example, it's often women examples that they give and in this one she does talk about a man, and it's
Hmm
you know, it's harder, I guess, to realize when you're under fueling because you don't have that signal that women do. But in this case, the poor guy, he had a femoral stress fracture, I think. The
Yeah,
femur is like a huge bone. So
yeah,
like if you get a stress fracture there, then that's huge red flag.
massive. I would have thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to say anything about the last chapter before we maybe talk about who we think this book is for?
Well, the last chapter's kind of just a couple of pages of summary saying, running for life.
Mhm.
I think the one point that I'd just like to make on that chapter is that something that I identify strongly with, and I think you do, is stop thinking that this PR that you're chasing or this time that you're chasing, will bring you some sort of fulfillment. It's a false thing because basically your happiness, you shouldn't connect your happiness to the outcome because once you get the outcome, you'll start saying, okay, now what? And then
Mhm.
you'll reset. And then, it's just a series of that, which goes on forever. And ultimately, if you connect your ultimate happiness to that, you're just pushing your happiness out all the time.
Speak for yourself, Alan, you sub 3 hour marathoner. I will be happy when I run under 3 hours.
Certainly you will for a time, but it'll be
Mm.
interesting to talk to you once you've done it. That you'll say, yes, I'm content, but
Uh, maybe
uh,
255. What do you think 255?
yeah, but or maybe you'll do is you'll change gears. You'll say, well, I'd like to have a better relationship with trail running or something like that. I don't know. You might
Hmm,
suddenly when that's off
I
the
doubt that.
agenda.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
think
know.
what you and I have said is we need to increasingly focus on loving, as Philly Bowden says, loving the grind, um, loving the training process, trying to get it right, nuancing it, not just let's just work, work, work and pretend like we're really happy, we're exhausted all the time. No, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's not smart at all. Let's do something that interests us and that motivates us and that is hard to push us forward, but also has rest and recovery and balances up and does VO2 max work, does tempo work, allows us to evaluate how we're developing our running, and let's get joy out of that.
Yeah. Sometimes just do the workouts that you like for a while.
Mm,
Like if you like VO2 max or if you like
mm.
5K pace on the track, like, well, do those. Do those
Yeah,
once or twice a week for
yeah,
6 weeks. Why not?
yeah. Or stop for a few weeks and have a few weeks off if you're not in a training block, so that when the training block comes around, you can commit to it with a certain amount of enthusiasm. I think that's a kind of a good outro on the book.
Yeah. So I guess the last question that we'll answer is who we think this book is for, because that's, you know, usually give some thoughts about that. I think that this book is for, I guess it's not so much one of the books, like we've covered some books that really go through the nitty-gritty of like if you're training this many hours per week, you need to have this many grams of carbs per kilogram of body
Yeah.
weight per day.
Mm.
So this is not that book. This
No.
is more like all of the sort of um relationship with food around, and like yes, there is a little bit of all that mixed in the, for example with the how much carbohydrate you need when you're training for 2 hours or more. So there is a little bit of that sprinkled in, but this is a little more on the relationship with food and less on like the nitty gritty of how do you calculate how much you need. I guess this is like for anybody that's looking for a balanced opinion on fueling. So if you do feel like you've tried a whole bunch of, I'm gonna say fad eating strategies, paleo or whatever, and I don't know, you're feeling kind of exhausted and discouraged, maybe this is kind of the book you need to like reset what fueling should look like. It's not usually as simple as like let's cut out all these food groups or whatever. It's more nuanced than that, and you do have to, like, it's not also about being perfect, and I think this book highlights
No.
that a lot. I think anybody dealing with poor performance has been diagnosed with overtraining, REDS, low energy availability, all those things. Like this is a useful read for you because it puts things into perspective and it just makes you realize like sometimes it's not even intentional. Sometimes it's just, It's just that, you're training so much. You have less hours in the day because you're a busy person and, you just don't realize that you're not eating enough. I think it talks a lot about women-specific topics, like fueling during your menstrual cycle. So she does say a few things about like your carbohydrate requirements fluctuating with your hormone profile. So she does go through a little bit of that. Also in perimenopause, menopause, we didn't really mention this, but apparently your carbohydrate requirement goes up. So, but women tend to think they
Yeah.
need to limit them more
Yeah, because they
because
get
because of the
bloating or whatever.
or
Yeah.
or whatever or weight gain or whatever, and
Yeah.
they think that they should be decreasing their carbohydrates, and so it's actually the opposite. So there are a few little tidbits of information there that are kind of women specific, but it's not a book that you necessarily need to be a woman to get a bunch of useful information out of.
No, I
But
agree. I agree with that. I mean, I was interested to read all the female related things rather than getting to a point where I felt I was inundated by things that didn't apply to me.
yeah.
Um, so it's well balanced from that point of view.
Yeah. She also has a whole lot of references in the back. So, I mean, if you finish reading this book and you're looking for some more, then she's got some
Yeah.
references in the back. And also this is sort of like, I guess, the sequel to her first book. So, I guess you could always go and read that first, which is more about, I think that from what it sounds like, it's more the how to do it and not like
Hmm.
the why, whereas this is more of the why.
Yeah, basically everything that I've got written down, I think you covered.
Oh no.
But I'll do it quickly. I said the book's for people who are interested in having a better relationship with their food or fuel in in their endurance sport arena. And all of her stuff is based on it's nuanced and it's based on research. So there's a whole series of research references in the back. So that can be checked out. It's a fairly new book, so it's fairly current. I think one of the things that Renee emphasizes is part of it is what you eat, and what you eat is important, but also part of it is who you are, because how you react could influence how you behave. And then you can have two people can have the same things to eat, but one has, a very practical approach, and one has a totally dysfunctional approach, and they both feel entirely different. It's not just a transactional exercise, eating food. It's an emotional exercise and a psychological exercise. You're a study of one, and you have to do what works for you. There are lots of examples of athletes and actual case studies of issues in the book as well, which is good. It breaks it up. And Renee's been consultant to some very high profile people. So her word is extremely correct, current, and relevant,
Mm-hmm.
and quite practical. Here's a recipe. Go and eat that. You know, which is good. So good stuff for a food book, which I'm not like too super crazy about food and diet and stuff like that. I find it fascinating, quite interesting.
Okay. Thank you for listening to another episode of Running Book Reviews. Big thanks to Lorna from Vertebrate for sending us copies of the book for review. Sorry we couldn't have Renee on the podcast, but hopefully we did the book justice. If you'd like to leave us feedback about how we can improve the podcast or want to suggest a book that you would like for us to review in a future episode, please leave us a comment on social media. We are Running Book Reviews on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter we are reviews_running. Please also follow us on social media to find out about new episodes when they're released, or you can just subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming platform. If you've been listening to us for a while and are wondering how you can help us out, here are a few ways. If you're enjoying the podcast, spread the word. You can tell your friend about an episode you really liked. You can share a link. If you are the type of running buddies that listen to music while you're running together, heck, you can listen to the same episode together but separate in your own headphones. Pro tip.
Cool.
Also, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if that's how you listen to your podcast. You can also rate us on Spotify out of 5 stars. And we are on Buy Me a Coffee, where you can follow us. Just another place to follow us. We post things on Buy Me a Coffee that are usually not anywhere else. Some of them might be useful, some of them I don't know. But Alan sometimes
Could be
posts some, compromising conversations that he recorded of us two before or after the podcast. So, hey, if you like that kind of stuff, then go over there and follow us. It says Buy Me a Coffee because you can buy us a coffee, but you don't need to. You can access everything and follow us for free. And then if you follow us, when we post something new, we can actually notify our followers and you get an email. So if you're into that kind of thing, then, go and check it out.
Hey, before we say goodbye, did we ever find out who gave us the 1-star review on Spotify? Because we ended up with a 1-star review.
It was on Apple Podcasts, no?
Oh, it was on Apple. Yeah, it was a 1-star review on Apple.
No, we didn't find out. No.
So you've achieved your objective.
You know what, though?
Got us a 1-star review.
I'm still convinced it was me trying to show someone where they can review the podcast in their Apple, and I think that I didn't realize when
it was our friend Joanne.
Yeah,
you touched her phone.
I touched her phone. Yes,
accidentally forced her to give us a 1-star review.
Yeah. Well, what? Everyone needs one of those, right?
No.
Doesn't it make you more credible when people don't like you?
I guess. Be better to have a 4-star review with some comments.
Well, that's
This is
true,
just a
that's
1-star review. We don't know whose it is because they didn't leave any comments.
Yeah. So actually, all that to say that if you're going to give us a non-5 stars, can you tell us why?
Oh, because here she is touting for...
Then we won't...
touting for criticism.
We won't be asking. No, but it should be constructive.
Give us a review and tell us how wonderful
perfect.
we are.
Okay. Either way. Well, that's it for now. I hope you've been listening all this time, although I think most people have turned us off by now. Bye.
Bye for now.